You're listening to DraftKings Network.
Folks, Smirnoff. I love it. Smirnoff knows there's no I in football. It's a we thing, best enjoyed with good drinks and great company. Home or away, we rally together, cry together, and always rally cry together because there's no I in fandom. Smirnoff, the world's #1 vodka, is perfect for easy, delicious cocktails for fans over 21. As the official vodka partner of the NFL, Smirnoff's award-winning taste has been igniting the collective spirit since 1864. Grab a bottle of Smirnoff at your local retailer and head to Smirnoff.com to find recipes of delicious cocktails perfect for game day. Please drink responsibly. Smirnoff, #21 vodka, distilled from grain, 40% alcohol volume. The Smirnoff Company, New York, New York. Please do not share with anyone under legal drinking age.
This episode is brought to you by Experian. Are you paying for subscriptions you don't use but can't find the time or energy to cancel them? Experian could cancel unwanted subscriptions for you, saving you an average of $270 per year and plenty of time. Download the Experian app. Results will vary. Not all subscriptions are eligible. Savings are not guaranteed. Paid membership with connected payment account required.
Welcome to the Big Suey, presented by DraftKings,
Why are you listening to this show?
the podcast that seems very similar to the other Dan Le Batard podcast.
I'm sorry, I'm not going to apologize for that.
In fact, the only difference seems to be this imaging.
I have been tempted in restaurants just walking past tables to grab somebody's fries that if they're just there. That hasn't happened to you guys?
I've done it.
And now, here's the marching man to nowhere, Fat Face, and the habitual liar.
Greg, your old dice is disgusting. It's like yellow. It looks like it's covered in bacteria and E. coli, and it made me think of Dan's question earlier about the Seine, which is apparently also riddled with E. coli. And actually, a Belgian triathlete had to pull out of the Olympics, and her team is claiming that she's been hospitalized with E. coli after swimming in the Seine. Wow. And so even after this like billion-dollar cleanup effort and like constant testing, apparently there's still some nasty in that water, and athletes are swimming in it every day.
It's up for debate. It's either the Tempest, or even though the internet acknowledges it's unlikely, it came from a Dutch saying in which someone was sitting in pickle brine.
Okay. Yep.
People back in the day really had it so much easier. They could be the first one to say anything, do anything, and then we just assume that they're like so profound. Like, oh, Billy Shakespeare, look at all these things that he wrote. It's like, yeah, well, he's the first one to string together 6 words because no one had the opportunity to.
Good point.
But they also didn't have antibiotics, so.
Yeah, there's that, right? Dentistry was a bitch back then.
Pickle brine, by the way, used to be a very popular drink. My dad used to drink pickle brine like water.
That is appalling.
No,
Wild Bill did?
No, he didn't.
Wild
8
Bill?
glasses a day. I mean,
That
he would
is-
save the jar, and when the pickles were done, he would have a glass jar this size full of pickle juice.
That's smart.
And he would drink it like water. I had plenty of sips of pickle juice. It's great.
You know you have to pay nowadays to get pickle juice, pickle-flavored juice? Has to be astronomical.
Yeah.
Wild Bill knew.
I bet it would.
Yeah.
Very salty, a little vinegary, very flavorful. You can use it as a marinade for a lot of stuff. Anyway, that's a tangent.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you, this
The first
look,
one.
Let me explain to you one of the joys of doing this, okay? This is wonderful, and rare do I get to see a glimpse of my friend quite this clearly after all of these years as he descends into fossilized age. Him talking about pickle brine, he just nostalgically wandered off toward that time and forgot he was on a radio show, just thinking to himself old thoughts about his dad. And he forgot he was with us.
He got lost in the memories.
Look, we talked about him so much. His podcast, I told you we'd lose him. We talked about his podcast. We got to talk about his dumbass die. We got to talk about his Talon feet. We got to talk about things he cares about. We got to talk about me maximum.
Yeah.
And then the moment that he started thinking about drinking pickle brine, which is appalling, put it on the poll, please, Juju, at Le Batard Show, is the thought of drinking pickle brine like it's water appalling to you?
My dad also drank clam juice like it was going out of style.
I just found, Greg, online you can buy classic kosher dill juice. One package is 19.5 ounces. A 3-pack costs $46.
It's pricey. You get what you pay for. It's good stuff. Makes me want to go home and drink from a pickle jar, to be honest.
Really?
We can make that happen before you leave today.
Let's do
That'd be
that.
a punishment.
I'm going to videotape myself. By the way, this picture of me holding a yellow dye, it looks to me like I'm about to swallow it. It looks edible. It's the color of a Cheez-It. And to Roy's point, I never should have used it. I disrespected the dye.
Wow, that's the first time I've ever heard you utter regret on our show.
Yeah. I should not have used that. I could have picked any dye, although I don't think I have another dye in the house.
Odd topic to show regrets, I mean.
But why need to buy another dye? You have one good dye. Why buy another one?
It's
Waste of money.
It's a Hall of Famer.
Use that money to buy some
Right.
pickles.
Yeah.
You could have gone to the Dollar Tree and got some dice.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I don't know
Yep.
where to buy a dice.
Dollar Tree.
Where do you buy dice?
On the internet?
Well, internet.
No, it's a good question. I mean, if you're in your car driving around and you need dice, where do you go?
Right.
It's a fair question.
Yeah.
It is.
No, I mean,
Hobby Lobby?
The
I
dollar
mean-
store, I'm sure, has dice.
No.
You
I don't
said-
know. That's one of those things that you're like, what is my solution? I need dice. I need them fast. What
Right.
do I
A
go
toy
to?
store?
Yeah, but what do you do? Do you go to like buy Yahtzee and take the dice out of the
Right.
Yahtzee game? What do
Right.
you do?
They definitely sell them at the store, like with the playing cards. I'd have to guess.
Isolated dice?
Roy,
Like a six-pack?
Greg, was the game whoever throws it the farthest wins, or do you have to roll the highest with your feet?
No, you
It's a
launch,
totally different sport.
you launch the die with your foot, and you can, there's a strategy. You can hit it like a 2-iron and go for the roll.
But it doesn't matter what you roll. Maybe it should be weighted like what you roll versus distance.
No, it has nothing to do with landing on 1 or 6.
Then why does it have to be a dice?
It doesn't. I wanted something that was the size that would challenge
It's his
the
Olympics.
dexterity
Yeah.
of the toe.
Yeah.
I'm known for toe dexterity. Not everyone is. But, the roll counts. If it goes off the road into the grass, it's going to stop right away. So the key is to keep it straight. And I will tell you that the winning distance was...
Don't give it away. The Greg Cody Show, featuring
Yeah.
Greg Cody, where you can find all of your results.
Right. I'm not going to say who won. I will say the winning distance was 29 yards.
Wow.
Or
That's
87 feet.
So much higher than Mondo jumped.
You could use a rock.
A
No.
rock?
No,
Yeah.
you can't.
Well, if it's the right size, it has to be. We want it big enough where the toe can, small enough where the toe can pick it up. Mm-hmm. Big enough, you don't want to have it too big or too small. You can't pick up no matter how much toe dexterity you have, you can't pick up a kernel of popcorn. You can't pick up a little corn kernel. Likewise, a golf ball would be very challenging. I think I could pick up a golf ball with my toe, but, I have more toe dexterity than most people.
Greg, I have great news for you. I'm on the Dollar Tree
Riveting.
website, and you can buy dye at the Dollar Tree. You can buy a 10-pack for $1.25. There's also, and this might interest you for next year's Cody Olympics, there's also a set of do-it-yourself wood dye. So these are not numbered. They just are 3 different dye. They're squared with the rounded edges, and maybe you want to toss that in there. You could throw a Greg Cody Show logo on it. You could do something not necessarily numerical.
That's a great idea, Billy.
Yeah.
I'm going to make a mental note of that.
All right, you're
Just
taking a
make
lot of
actual
notes.
Not gonna write that
today.
one
Yeah, you got a
down.
pencil.
You got a
up
laptop
here.
in front of you.
You are writing a great deal down, and
But what's rare is the tiny die, okay? When everybody thinks of dice, they think of the size everyone's imagining,
standard
which is
size.
like that.
Yeah.
The tiny die is the key. I bet you can't buy tiny dice online.
I bet you can.
the question that I wanted to ask, based on what you guys are saying, is degree of difficulty on modernizing your shopping habits when you're as old as Greg Cody. Some of you in this room are declaring that it is hard to leave your home and know where to go if you needed to immediately get dye. Jessica said you just find it in the playing card section. What else is in this section? What other toys are things that are that you need to get someplace? Where do you go to get it? Because when Roy says dollar store, you're gonna get it, but you better not hope for anything good because nothing costs $1 anymore.
That's a good point.
You better not hope that you want dye that will last for 2 or 3 weeks.
They have some good stuff in there, I got to tell you.
They do. Agreed. I've been there
right.
recently to get some tattoos for a Prince Fielder nude shoot that I owe you guys. I went in there to get an assortment of...
The Dollar Tree had the Prince Fielder tattoos?
Yes, they did.
What?
Yes, they did. They had what I
odds?
needed.
No
What are
way.
the odds? That's right.
You walked into a dollar store?
I did walk into a dollar
That's
store.
a sight.
And
Did
there
you
are
bring Frankie?
Yeah, I had security with me. That's right. I pulled up in a limo. I was wearing a
Got
top
change of
hat.
100?
Oh, yeah, I looked at them with my monocle. Yeah.
Did you buy the store?
Yeah, I asked them how much for everything. I did.
Surely this store can't cost $1.
This is a bit of a stunner. I am guessing that I have been in a dollar store more recently than any of you.
Come on.
Does Five Below count?
Don't get me started on them.
I mean, I now want to get you started on it. What?
There's not an object in there below $5 anymore. They have a whole VIP section with a velvet rope back there that's 10 below. That's not the spirit of this store, friends. 5 below. You can't find anything for $1, $2. Everything's $5 now. The below is absent in 5 below. Don't get me started.
I mean, that's kind of where we are with
Potential
everything
client. Don't get me started.
in America.
What is less than $1?
There's not. You can't get anything good for less than $1 anymore.
Can you buy a pack of gum for less than $1?
Limes. One single lime.
No, you can't get
One single lemon.
Can you get a single lime?
Maybe a potato.
What can you get
Depending
for less
on
than
weight.
$1?
Well, food, yeah. I get that. Like the other day, I'm in Publix. I'm buying fresh ginger. Who uses ginger, right? And if you do use it,
I do.
You're
I use it.
shaving off a little bit. So basically, I buy the small. I snapped it in half. I buy a knuckle of ginger that was smaller than a golf ball. It ends up costing 19 cents or something because it's like a pound. And when you buy a small piece, it's like buying. Technically, you can buy one grape in a store, but who would do that? You know,
Just chuck it in your mouth and eat it and move
yeah,
on.
I saw somebody doing that the other day.
Right.
I saw a woman stealing right in front of me, stealing from the store. And this is where I feel like, ratting her out to the manager or something, because on principle, that I hate that when people eat. She's eating grapes right out of the bag she just bought, and they weigh it. You pay by the weight. So she's stealing money with every grape.
Right.
And she's munching it, just walking down carefree.
You are
just
so
munching
wrong.
grapes.
Why are you snapping ginger in half?
In the store. You did it in the store?
Yeah, of course.
Wow.
You take as much ginger as you need.
No, but you're not supposed to snap the ginger and then your dirty hands that have been throwing dice with your feet.
I didn't snap it with my feet.
What are you doing, snap? You got your dirty hands on somebody else's ginger. Somebody else's.
First of all, okay, I'm touching the outside of the ginger. You don't eat the outside of the ginger. You cut the outside off and then grate.
I've never heard of somebody snapping ginger in half because they don't want to pay the 49 cents for
It's common. Who do we know that works in produce at a supermarket? Call them, ask them.
You think it's common? Put it on the poll, please, Juju, at Le Batard Show. Is it common to snap your ginger in half at the grocery store?
Yes.
Can we get someone in a produce department? I'm begging you. Can we just find anybody?
A guest?
Yes.
Just ask etiquette questions?
Yes.
It's perfectly normal because, like I say, I'm not touching what you eat.
This is a new and unimproved Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz. Gamble on by DraftKings.
A lot has changed over the years, audience. As you've been so kind in pointing out, my shirt size has changed over the years. Look, I started this show as a 19-year-old boy, and now I'm a 38-year-old dad. But along the way, one staple of my life has been Miller Lite, and those of you that have been listening to us know this. I've been a Miller Lite guy since day one. I've been pretty honest about that. So let's get down to the nitty-gritty. What is the best thing about the original light beer Miller Lite? It sparked this debate way back in 1975, and we still haven't settled it. For me, it's the undebatable quality. It's great taste, and it's less filling. Whether you're out with your friends, at a game, at a bar, in the shower, Miller Lite delivers Miller time every time. You don't have to choose what's best about Miller Lite. It has great taste and is less filling. Tastes like Miller time. To get Miller Lite delivered right to your door, visit MillerLite.com/Dan, or you can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories per 12 ounces. Fewer calories and carbs than premium regular beer.
Dan Le Batard.
It's been a lovely cruise. Oh, man, that's my outro. That's, as my casket is being lowered.
Jesus.
I'll have been cremated a week before, but we'll do the casket thing just for show. And as my casket is being lowered.
Wait a minute.
Whoa.
Empty casket?
It'll
Closed?
be empty, just for show. We're gonna
Well, what's the redundancy there?
we're going to put on a public display.
Yeah, naturally.
Stugotz.
What do you do with the ashes?
You're going on a lovely cruise.
Exactly. Maybe we'll throw them over. My wife will throw them overboard.
I would
as she's
assume
necking with her new husband.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
A giddy Stugotz just walked into the room saying, I got a top 5 list for you on athletes who connote dice. Greg Cody has, if you're just joining us, ruined a family heirloom in order to get you to support the Greg Cody Show featuring Greg Cody, his wildly popular podcast.
With.
Fine. Fine.
Well, you guys missed 2 of them before. We should be up to $20 in fines if I was willing to respect you, but I will always call it the Greg Cody Show featuring Greg Cody,
Why?
and it is the only place that I will not budge.
Huh.
Why is that?
Weird.
Disrespectful.
I will not pay any more of the fines that come with this misrepresentation of you insisting that I promote your podcast and then you immediately check out on the remainder of the show as soon as that has been done.
Liar.
You only use this show as a vehicle to promote your things. You have a book coming out now. You are finally doing Back in My Days, but you're doing fresh Back in My Days that we're not even getting here. Mango Publishing is getting them here. That book is now available for pre-order. That book is finished. So now Greg Cody, what's happened around here, you may have noticed, this is a very big show. It has had a lot of success nationally and internationally and is growing because we've got some big announcements coming later this month. And what has happened around here is that Mango Publishing, a local publisher, has realized there is a publishing oil well around this show that everyone has noticed. So Ron McGill has written a book and Greg Cody has written 2 books, while I fought and wrestled with Stugotz's editor this weekend because Stugotz's book that we're telling him is worth a lot of money and is a good idea, he has not done enough work on, and he has not been prepared enough in the selling of this book. Greg Cody has somehow, Stugotz, he's gonna have 2 books out before you have your book out that's being written for you.
This is not a competition with me and Greg Cody. We are friends. We root for each other. Greg wrote a chapter in my book. I am not rooting against Greg Cody. I only want good things for the Cody family.
And likewise.
Yes.
But Greg Cody, who is being paid by this show to do Back in My Day, is only doing them as a side hustle, as part of a project. He's done 3 fresh Back in My Days for his book so that you buy it.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
How do people buy it? Pre-order? They go to their local dice store, the dollar store?
Yeah, you can just, Google Amazon, Greg Cody Books. It comes right up. It's doing very well based on pre-sales. It's Amazon's #1 ranked new release in a category called History Humor.
Wow.
Now, my philosophy is that Amazon has so many minuscule categories that it allows them to promote a book as being #1 new release
say that as a book.
in history and humor. It's also top 10 in humor essays. So
Nice.
I think it's going to be pretty well received.
It's a handsome-looking book. I'm seeing it here. You can also pre-order it at Target. It says it comes out September 24th. Is that so?
Yes, that is so.
Look at you.
Yeah.
2 books in the time, Stugotz. Is your book going to come out, Stugotz?
Yeah, it's coming out late November. I mean, I wrote a book. Have you?
I did. Marlon's Top of the First in 1993.
Dan, you're on the cover of this book. Were you aware of that?
Of which book?
Of Back in My Day. Witty satire debunking the hype of New and Improved by Greg Cody. Here you are, right at the top. You have a big quote on it.
He's on the cover of my book as well. I mean, forward by Dan Le Batard. How about that?
Did you write this quote, or did Greg just attribute a quote to you?
No, Dan was kind enough to write the foreword. Very long foreword. About a third of the book is Dan's foreword, but we appreciated every word of it.
Can you possibly tell us the topics of the new Back in My Days? Not necessarily tell us, but maybe kind of wet our whistle with what it is that you've written these about?
I can't remember what they are, to be honest with you.
I think that I should reward the audience. There should be some sort of prize where we bribe Greg Cody based on how high they get him on one of these lists. He has to read one of the fresh ones from his book if our listeners buy a certain number of books from him.
I think one of the 3 new ones is space travel. If I remember correctly.
That's one of those things that's gotten worse, right?
What, space travel?
Yeah.
Well, you have to buy the book to find out.
That a boy.
That is so distinctly male, what Greg Cody just did. He was palpably moved by my forward in a way that he expressed to me. He's a bit repressed with how it is he expresses his emotion. He was choked up in expressing to me how he felt about the forward, and all he does is describe it as publicly long.
Mm-hmm. Right. It was I said it was generous. You were very generous in what you wrote about me and about the book, mostly about me, which is what I really liked about it. But it was long.
A bit wordy, huh?
Criminy, yeah.
Same with mine.
Yeah.
I wasn't choked up. I wanted to choke Dan.
I don't think you read it. I've got no proof that you
couldn't get through it.
I don't think you read it. That was, Billy, that's what actually, I'm pretty sure that's what happened. We'll get back to that in a second. Pablo Torre joins us.
I love you, though.
And Pablo Torre is, I'm telling you, this podcast is unlike anything in the market. It's got a lot of good word of mouth because he is pouring himself unreasonably into every episode that goes out. It is a rare space in this space where it's not just people talking, but it's clearly got a lot of effort and work behind it. Pablo Torre finds out has gotten a lot of good reviews everywhere. So I wanted to bring Pablo in to talk about some of the news of the day. So Tim Walz is now Kamala's vice presidential candidate. Your thoughts there? Is that who you were rooting for? Were you rooting for the astronaut?
I was rooting for whoever was going to win the election, but this is the most fun guy to root for. And so the choice was Josh Shapiro, governor of Pennsylvania. The electoral map, Nate Silver, they're all saying, go with that guy. You just want to win the big blue states. And so I was like, okay, Josh Shapiro, cool. But Tim Walz, Dan, if you have been falling asleep, sort of like paying attention to the VP race, he's the guy who has kicked off all of the new messaging, which I find to be profoundly effective, about how the other side of this entire political argument now is just full of freaks. And so he uses the term weird. They're weird. And so Tim Walz is the guy who is most telling America, you get to make a choice here. It could be Donald Trump and J.D. Vance and this Suicide Squad style band of weirdos who are trying to do all sorts of things, which we don't need to even belabor right now. Or you can pick the dude who is the governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz, who is a high school football coach who looks like the guy you run into at the grocery store. And so it's just this remarkable leaning into, hey, this is what America kind of could still be, a normal average dad who may or may not be, grilling on the weekends, potentially barefoot, like Greg Cody.
Who uses those feet to roll dice on the Greg Cody Show, featuring Greg Cody and what he describes as the greatest of the family Olympic
towing,
events.
Dan.
Yes, towing. Excuse me.
Towing?
To Pablo's point, I did see Tim Walz in a grocery store, and he was breaking apart ginger. So if the vice president of the United States can do that, that seals it.
How do you
for me.
feel, Pablo, when I tell you that Greg Cody walks into a store and instead of just taking a piece of ginger there that would cost 69 cents, he breaks it in half so that he can have his 19-cent version?
I have Greg as a guy who gets his hands on all sorts of produce because there are deals to be found there. Greg, am I right? That
Yes.
you are handsy. You are almost... I won't say cancelably handsy with the produce, but I think you get the drift. The drift of what I'm trying to say here.
And the best example of that is when the lemons are not sold by the pound, but it says 2 for $1, for example. You got to find the lemon that's almost the size of your fist. You want to get your money's worth.
Fisting lemons. How are you doing avocados? How are you doing those?
I used to have an avocado tree, and it dropped so many avocados I had to uproot it. But avocados I don't buy much of. Other than guacamole, I have no use for avocados. But I'm not handsy. No, I respect produce. I look with my eyes. I'm scouting out the big lemon. Generally speaking, once I pick up a lemon, I buy it. Now, if I turn it around and it's got a defect on the other side, I gently put it back. What am I going to do? But no, the ginger, as I was explaining to Dan, he didn't know. He thought you popped a piece of ginger in your mouth like it was popcorn. You don't eat the outside of ginger.
No, I don't.
That's what he said.
I said
word
that
for word.
That's not what I said. I said that I use ginger, and I'm offended, as was Roy, by what you did with that ginger. But now we've moved on to other subject matter. So you got rid of and killed your avocado tree for overproducing for you.
Yeah. Well, what happened, avocado trees are seasonal. And when it was bearing fruit, it would drop so many that squirrels love avocado. So it drops on the ground.
Everyone knows that.
Yeah, and I couldn't pick it up fast enough. Like, I just want to take, how much does it take to make guacamole? I want to take 3 or 4 avocados in my house, let them ripen, make my avocado. Nobody makes avocado like me. It's really, really good, and I don't often brag about stuff like that.
You don't make avocado. The tree
But
does.
the squirrels are mauling my avocados. And once you can't use an avocado, it rots in the ground. It becomes you can't mow over it because the pit is big and hard. So it just became a real nightmare. Yeah, became a nightmare.
Greg Cody, you are 0-2 in cooking competitions around here. You say no one can make a guacamole like you. Does anyone want to challenge him? Valerie makes, I'm sure, a better guacamole than you. Does anyone here else make guacamole? Or is Greg Cody going to stand untested here?
I would take that challenge.
When he says, I make a better... You're 0-2 in your cooking challenges.
I know Roy beat me in turkey, and a well-earned victory by Roy. His citrus turkey was fantastic. What was the other competition?
You lost to me in popcorn.
Oh, yeah, and that was a little bit of a dicey verdict. You
lost unionimously. Dicey. No one voted for you.
I mean,
no one voted for you.
You're the Jordan Childs of, one minute you're in 5th place, the next minute somehow you're winning a ribbon.
Ridiculous.
I thought my popcorn was better.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're going to just overturn the vote that was unanimous? What are you, Trump?
Well, your popcorn, if I'm being honest, it was so over-seasoned with tajín that it was almost inedible.
Yeah. I've never heard tajín uttered like a slur before. Until just
Hard J.
Almost inedible.
Again, beat you 4-0.
The judges were on the take. You're the guy going in a dollar store to save money so that you can flash a little money to the judges over here. We don't know what's going on.
I have a question for Greg, because I'm imagining how Tim Walz is going to instruct America about how he is the most normal man in politics. But Greg Cody's Guide to Grocery Store Etiquette, what else is on the list of stuff that Greg does that a veteran dad who's been around the block a couple times always does if he knows what he's doing?
Wow. I like the idea that you had Tim Walz grilling in bare feet, because I do that. I challenge myself to be safe in areas that don't seem safe. When I'm lighting a propane tank, for example, I have no problem using bare feet for that. And Tim, the idea that the vice president also grills in bare feet makes me like the guy.
Well, I don't know if was that literal, or were you just being metaphorical there, Pablo? Is that a literal thing? Does he grill in bare feet? Do you know this?
I believe that I was being reckless and speculating that potential Vice President Tim Walz has prehensile toes that he is using to grill and operate.
Put it on the poll,
tanks.
please, Juju, at Le Batard Show. Do you grill in bare feet? Because I don't think that's uniquely or distinctly American. I think it's dumb and dangerous and dirty. When you said Nate Silver earlier, are we trusting this information? Because I have found hard to trust anything that resembles polling information, and Nate Silver was simply the authority in these matters, and then he wasn't.
Yeah, I don't have anybody better than him. Of course, all of this is a complicated thing when you have to say probability is what we're going for here. So Nate Silver has been wrong, but the probabilities in which he estimated his wrongness to be were actually more impressive than other people who were wrong. And so this is like the last thing Stugotz wants to hear, is people making excuses about how I'm wrong, but my math says that I'm more right than you. So I understand why he's a deeply unsympathetic character. I get all of that, but I believe, Dan, I just don't know what else to turn to other than the math of polling, and Nate Silver's the best at it. So yeah, I go by him.
What kind of offense did he run in high school? I mean, those are the questions we should be asking. Tells a lot about a man. Yeah.
This is an episode for Pablo Torre Finds Out. I am not kidding. This has already been assigned this morning.
Wow.
When you're hiring for your small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help find the right professionals for your team. faster, and for free. As Metalwork Media continues to grow as a content studio, we strive to hire only the best and most qualified candidates. Thankfully, with LinkedIn, they have made it easy for us to find them. LinkedIn isn't just a job board. LinkedIn helps you hire professionals you can't find anywhere else, even those who aren't actively searching for a new job but might be open to the perfect role. In a given month, over 70% of LinkedIn users don't visit other leading job sites. So, if you're not looking on LinkedIn, you're looking in the wrong place. On LinkedIn, 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. Hire professionals like a professional on LinkedIn. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/prep. That's linkedin.com/prep. Post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply.
Don Le Batard.
Is there back in my day?
There is, actually.
What?
Were you not going to tell anyone?
What?
Wait a minute.
You guys,
Tuesday.
wait
I've been doing this
it's
show.
a Tuesday.
Stugotz. Here's your guy, Greg Cody, with Back in My Day.
I hope I have it. Okay, here it is. Sorry. Adultery.
Yeah, wait a minute.
Back.
That is
Waiting for this one.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
I like that we're doing the whole hey, those guys are weird thing. But also, from what I've read, Tim Walz has had a really good track record in Minnesota for things like a child tax credit, and he's free lunches, things like that. He's a former teacher, so he has a lot of family geared policy. So is that also something that you think adds a boost to the Harris campaign, that they're able to attach themselves to some of these policies?
I think so. I mean, thank you, Jess, for reminding us that there's substance here somewhere. Yes. I just think when it comes to how he's going to debate J.D. Vance, I don't think they're going to lean on that so much as they're going to lean on, hey, look at me, look at him, look at me again. Which one of us potentially not wearing eyeliner and also having a history of flip-flopping and calling my preferred presidential nominee Adolf Hitler? Which one of us do you trust? I think they're going to simplify it so far down to the lowest common denominator in ways that make me hopeful, because I've tried substance before, Jess, and it doesn't really work so well. I think they're just going to go for the casting call, and I kind of get it.
Pablo Torre finds out Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. You've now mentioned Hitler a couple of times in your last few appearances. You are obsessed these days.
Okay.
What?
Wouldn't say that, although today's episode does involve Hitler. And here's a spoiler alert. It also involved, this is not the only tree-based conversation you'll hear on the Dan Le Batard and Friends Network today. Greg Cody's avocado trees, the trees that Adolf Hitler gave to gold medalists in the 1936 Berlin Games, the Nazi Olympics, led us to a story about Jesse Owens taking those trees home and planting them. Unlike Greg Cody, he saved those trees. And it's a story about why and how and what it says about America. And that is a tease that I believe successfully threads the needle of trying to sell you about listening to more Adolf Hitler.
I think that tease makes sure that no one here will listen to that. I'm pretty sure.
Trees?
I'm pretty sure you
guys are anti-trees.
I'm pretty
anti-trees.
Sure you lost everyone in this room with all of that. You think you nailed the dismount, and Jessica is saying she'll listen.
Thank you, Jess. Substance.
Listen.
Greg?
Although, Dan, you should be careful when you say someone is obsessed with Adolf Hitler. That's especially
dangerous.
someone that you employ.
Yeah, that's
you know what you're doing, right?
Well, I thought I knew what I was doing. I was hoping that it...
Journalistically obsessed. Journalistically obsessed, because I'm a journalist. Hard J.
That is...
Big J.
That is correct.
Journalist.
Before you get out of here, I've got some updates for you from some of the reporting that our experts have been doing on the Olympics. Billy has been covering trampoline. Greg Cody has been covering equestrian. So go ahead and, Greg, give us whatever you've got here on equestrian. We've given out assignments to everyone. I've got breakdancing. I think that, Roy, what did you have?
Boxing and field hockey.
Do you have any reports, any updates?
Not yet. I will have it on Friday.
Okay. Jessica, what do you have? Did you wrestle beach volleyball?
Beach volleyball. I believe I wrestled it away from Chris. Unfortunately, One of our women's beach volleyball teams lost yesterday, but there is more today.
Greg Cody, you are our equestrian correspondent. What do you have for us?
I don't love equestrian just because I own a racehorse, okay? I love equestrian because it's the sport of old people. The competitors are older on average than any other sport at the Paris Olympics. The average age of the U.S. equestrian team, 44 and a half. Even the horses are old. We think of horses as 3 or 4 year olds that we actually see in big races. These equestrian horses tend to be 14, 15, 16 years old. Equestrian in France wrapped up just this morning in Versailles, with Germany taking 4 of 6 gold medals and Great Britain the other 2. U.S. rider Laura Kraut aboard her horse Valentinu had a chance this morning to win the first gold medal in Team USA equestrian since 2008, but fell short in the individual jumping final. However, Kraut from Palm Beach, along with teammates Carl Cook and McLean Ward, took silver earlier in Paris in team jumping. Kraut, at age 58, became the oldest U.S. Olympic medalist in 72 years. The previous oldest was Everard Ducky Ent, who was 59 in Helsinki in 1952 when he won gold in the 100-meter dash. I'm just kidding. It was in sailing. Not reporting from Paris, I'm Greg Cody.
All right, it felt a bit book reporty, but I hope that Billy, I mean, he's written something.
I learned a lot.
He's written something that's not for his book. He wrote something fresh for us.
Thank you.
Billy, do you have a trampoline update for
Women's
us?
trampoline, yes. I thought I had visuals prepared, but we can go here. We don't need to get to the visuals. So, Dan, Olympic trampolining commenced and ended the other day. It is one of the most vicious Olympic sports because just like that, 4 years of training can go
Hold on
away.
a second. I'm sorry. I think Patty Mills just did something.
Yeah, Serbia battled all the way back from down 20 to go up 2 with 9.5 seconds left. They go to Patty Mills to tie this ball game. Patty Mills rattles it in. It's a tie ball game. 1.4 seconds left. A desperate heave from Serbia goes wide. We are headed to overtime in the men's basketball quarterfinal.
We're allowed to do Olympics play-by-play like that?
That was after the fact. This actually happened 4 minutes earlier.
Already in OT. Yeah.
You're not allowed to do that. Anyways, Olympic trampoline. The event takes place in one day, Dan, and the field starts at 16 and then is trimmed down to 8, all in one day. So you have the 16 compete, then you get the 8. Now, how do they trim them down? Great question. This is the way that it goes. Each athlete has 2 potential opportunities if they don't like their score on the first one and think they can improve the second one, and then they take the best of the 2 scores as their final score. So, in Olympic trampolining, you have 10 jumps. So you jump and then you have 10 different tricks that you can do. You're then judged based on those tricks. Okay? Now, how did qualifying go? Great question. This is how qualifying finished. We're not going to do all the qualifying because 16 people is too many.
For not
so I'm just going to give you who advanced from qualifying.
Shocking. Yes, well, you're much more prepared than Greg Cody was for this.
Greg had a lot of stuff. He had a lot of info there.
Yeah, but you're
not a competition, man.
Eberhard Ducky Kent? Was that a name Greg said at one point?
Yeah, Ent. E-N-D-T. E-N-D-T. Ducky Ent.
Sounds fake.
Oh.
Not to him, it wasn't.
I was remiss in not pointing out to you, Pablo. I wanted to throw to you the idea that Greg Cody and Stugotz think they should be able to decide who's American in the Olympics.
That was Greg Cody who said that. I was just explaining what it is.
Misrepresentation, falsehoods. Greg thinks everyone should compete for America.
Yeah, well, his takes on tajín now all add up. But Billy, proceed. Sorry.
Sorry, Billy.
All right, so in qualifying, first place went to Violeta Bardzelowskaya, and she is one of the 35 athletes that is competing from Belarus and from Russia who are not allowed to compete under their own country. So she is competing under AIN, and she finished first place in qualifying with a score of 56.340. And second
place, it looks fun. Trampoline looks fun and dangerous and amazing.
Speaking of popcorn, yeah.
I'm just going to tell you how they did in the final round, because if I go through all the names in the qualifying and I give you the scores, you're going to get tired of this.
Why would you do that? Yeah,
well, because I need you guys. I'm trying to paint a picture here. Did you know there's 2 trampolines and they can choose which apparatus to jump on? So they have their warm-ups and they can choose which of the 2 trampolines they want to compete on.
Wow.
Now, from my observation, it seemed like they all competed on the exact same trampoline. So I don't know why they needed a second trampoline. But there was
like a baseball glove. They want it worn in. They want the worn-in trampoline.
I suppose. I was wondering maybe if the springs are tighter on one trampoline than the other, you get more bounce. But I think it's just a preference thing. Probably I should have the answers for you.
Shouldn't you know this?
Yeah, I'm the one reporting on
the
it.
Expert.
But,
I would think that would be good information to have.
Anyway, so in second place in qualifying with a score of 56.20, we had Yu Yicheng. That she got a score of 56.270. In third place, we had Zhu Zhujuing from China with a score of 55.950. In fourth place, again competing for AIN, we had Anzela Bladlekva with a score of 55.640. Then in fifth place, we had what appeared to be the sentimental favorite, Brownie Page from Great Britain with a score of 54.970. Now, as you all know, as fans of trampolining, Brownie Page previously has a bronze and a silver medal, but she does not have the gold medal yet. So we're trying to see if she can get the old triple crown in medals, as they call it in trampolining. In sixth place, we had Mori Hikaru from Japan with a score of 54.740. Well, I'm just giving you a recap of the qualifying.
Is the short version.
This is a short. I didn't want to give you the 16.
Pablo,
There you go. Look, right
Pablo,
there.
Thank you for being on with
Pablo
us.
may be
We
interested in this.
appreciate it.
Pablo wants to find out who won trampolining.
Yes,
Triple crown.
Pablo, thank you for being on with us. We appreciate it.
Belarus, huh?
I really regret.
In seventh place, Maddie Davidson from New Zealand. Now, remember, Pablo, if you're still here, remember, their scores
Can you just fade
in
yourself
qualifying,
out? Do me a favor.
Their scores in qualifying don't carry over to the final. It gets
fade
wiped
yourself
clean,
out.
so they just make it into the
as you
championship.
keep talking,
in
just
eighth
fade
place,
yourself.
we
Do
had
your job.
Sofiane Method from Canada with a score of 50.
When you're hiring for your small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. As Meadowlark Media continues to grow as a content studio, we strive to hire only the best and most qualified candidates. Thankfully, with LinkedIn, they've made it easy for us to find them. LinkedIn isn't just a job board. LinkedIn helps you hire professionals you can't find anywhere else, even those who aren't actively searching for a new job but might be open to the perfect role. In a given month, over 70% of LinkedIn users don't visit other leading job sites. So, if you're not looking on LinkedIn, you're looking in the wrong place. On LinkedIn, 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. Hire professionals like a professional on LinkedIn. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/prep. That's linkedin.com/prep. Post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. A lot has changed over the years, audience, as you've been so kind in pointing out. My shirt size has changed over the years. Look, I started this show as a 19-year-old boy, and now I'm a 38-year-old dad. But along the way, one staple of my life has been Miller Lite, and those of you that have been listening to us know this. I've been a Miller Lite guy since day one. I've been pretty honest about that. So let's get down to the nitty-gritty. What is the best thing about the original light beer Miller Lite? It sparked this debate way back in 1975, and we still haven't settled it. For me, it's the undebatable quality. It's great taste, and it's less filling. Whether you're out with your friends, at a game, at a bar, in the shower, Miller Lite delivers Miller time every time. You don't have to choose what's best about Miller Lite. It has great taste and is less filling. Tastes like Miller time. To get Miller Lite delivered right to your door, visit MillerLite.com/Dan, or you can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 96 calories per 12 ounces, fewer calories and carbs than premium regular beer.